CIA intelligence reports was saying, well, I guess we were wrong in thinking that he might have been dead these last several years, because it appears that he's alive and well and promoting revolution in the jungles of Bolivia.
The CIA sends a couple of agents to Bolivia in June 1967. One of them is Felix Rodriguez, the man who at age 18 had trained for the Bay of Pigs and had volunteered to assassinate Fidel Castro and Che.
The Bolivian government was sure that he was trying to promote the guerrilla in the area.
With evidence of Che trying to start a guerrilla war in his country, Bolivian President Barrientos starts a propaganda campaign against them.
They would say that if we win out, we would be mugged and raped by guerrilla fighters. That's what would be rumored.
With Che Guevara back on the radar, America begins to gear up to help the Bolivians.
It is absolutely clear that the CIA made this #1 priority in the summer of 1967. Lyndon Johnson was monitoring day by day the progress that was being made and tracking down and eliminating the great revolutionary Che Guevara.
A legacy of Kennedy's presidency is the creation of an elite counterinsurgency group known as the Green Berets. They're deployed to Bolivia.
The mission was to train from scratch a Bolivian Ranger battalion, specifically trained in tactics, to go after Che Guevara and his guerrillas.
800 Bolivian soldiers are selected and trained at a camp called La Esperanza.
We were like kids in a toy store, practicing with real war munitions, particularly machine guns, rifles, hand grenades, rockets.
They were willing students, they were enthusiastic. They turned out to be good soldiers.
As things heat up in Bolivia, Che decides it's time to leave, but not without all his comrades. It's been 4 months since Che's column has seen the rear guard. They had stayed behind at base camp with the sick, including Tanya.
She was physically in pretty poor shape. She had a uterus cancer that was eating her, and there was a report from the guerrilla that she was delaying the movement of the guerrilla because she could hardly walk.
Che wants to link up with the group to make their way towards the Andes for their final escape. Only days apart, both groups begin to move separately towards the Rio Grande. On August 31st, Joaquin's column gets there first.
And they contacted a peasant to show them how to cross the river.
But the peasant betrays them and informs the army exactly where Joaquin plans to cross.
And when this group was crossing the river, they ambushed them and killed them, including Tanya, the only woman on the group.
She was shot through both arms, went through the whole body, and her body went right into the water. And basically, the whole guerrilla was annihilated with the exception of 2 guys.
Once his comrades in the second column were wiped out, the story of Che Guevara in Bolivia was really a survival story after that. A kind of epic journey. They moved from a beastly hot, thorny wilderness up into the high Andes, underfed, under ambush, sick.
By September, 39-year-old Che and his men have been moving through the harsh Bolivian jungles for 10 months.
Che had lost almost half his body weight. His hair was matted and long. His men were hallucinating.
Juan Pablo Chin was practically blind. Paco was now crazy. He was mentally insane. Willie didn't want to fight anymore. It was all terrible.
Che sends Benigno to get some much-needed supplies. As they approach the village of La Higuera, they run into an army ambush.
We automatically went from 22 men to 17. We lost 3. They got me. The bullet entered here and stayed here by the medulla. I was able to return to where Che was located.
Wounded, sick, and exhausted, the guerrillas move slowly through a ravine near La Higuera. On October 8th, they're spotted by a local farmer who reports back to an army officer. The 2nd Ranger Battalion is immediately deployed to the area.
Everyone had to get their weapons and get ready. One of the columns was so large that it had 650 soldiers transporting during the night.
So I got about 70 men with me and went down to Guewara and from there to the ravine.
As the Bolivian Rangers descend the mountains, Che realizes he and his men are trapped. They'll have to fight their way out.
We received 5 from the guerrillas. 2 soldiers were killed. So we started fighting.
The guerrillas are clearly outnumbered.
Some of the guerrillas were killed. Che himself was wounded, and his rifle was literally shot out of his hand. He was incapable of firing it.
A Bolivian guerrilla named Willie comes to his aid, trying to lead him to safety.
I had 2 soldiers for security about 15 meters up. They had seen these 2 guys trying to get out of the ravine, coming slowly, and they waited. They were right up to them.
The 2 guerrillas have nowhere to run.
One thing that caught my attention was he was carrying a small pan with 6 eggs. He was very careful with these 6 eggs, probably because he was going to his food for the next days. No? So I asked him, "Who are you?" And he said to me, "Look, I am Che, and I'm worth more alive than dead."
It has taken an army to catch him, but Che Guevara has finally been caught. The Bolivians are hungry for blood, yet the only ones who can save him are the ones who Che hates the most. October 8, 1967. After 11 months on the run, Che Guevara's dreams of revolution have come to a bloody end in the Bolivian jungles.
We knew Che had been taken prisoner. We planned an escape, to get out and report what had occurred, the truth about Bolivia.
With most of his men dead, Che and Willie, a rebel soldier, are escorted out of the ravine.
I gave him a soldier to lean on, and he walked all the way